It's coming. Hello there, Alien fans. I am Anchorpete, and whoa, I'm on the Anchorpete channel. What the hell is going on? Sherry and I have not posted a video in a long time because we're waiting for just the right show to start reviewing. But I had to post a video for Alien Day. And so I've brought all my favorite Space Marines with me today for my various channels. So right over here in the top right-hand corner is Corporal Corsair, who is from my other channel, Comic Books Transformed. Brian, how you doing tonight?
Doing good, Pete.
Sweet. Down there, Brady Bunch style on the bottom right is, let's see, Sergeant Torkel over there from the Lasser cast. What's going on, my man? Show off your shirt, huh?
Yeah, Hudson, game over, man, game over. This was like one of the first Fright Rag shirts I ever bought, like probably 15 years ago, and I still have it.
That's a great shirt.
Nice. Yeah, and I've actually worn the same shirt for every one of these videos that I've done today. Uh-oh. And then down there, working for the corporation, but he's still a good guy, don't worry about it, is Mr. Mike Bongiorno from Pop Culture Man Children.
Hey, how do I get out of this chicken shit outfit?
Oh. And see,
Nice.
He said it perfectly. Because
Like
what we're going to do is, I like that shirt, by the way, is we
not
are
a
going to...
white guys have alien shirts, by the way.
Yes, exactly. We're going to just basically spend the next 45 minutes quoting aliens. So I hope you guys enjoy that. That's our little treat for today. But
This would be great.
but anyway, we are here to discuss the movie Aliens. And so I brought my friends from all my different channels. Mike, we don't have a channel together, but he's got this amazing podcast called Pop Culture Man Children. And he's been on a few of my channels to talk about Star Wars, The High Republic.
Mm-hmm.
So guys, right off the bat, I was going to toss this to you. Has anyone here ever heard the story of how James Cameron pitched Aliens?
No.
I don't think so.
It might be an urban legend, but tell me if this rings a bell. Apparently, when it was his turn to pitch Aliens, he had a dry erase board. He's in front of a bunch of corporate executives, and he writes Alien, and then he puts an S at the end, and then he makes the S into a dollar sign.
I believe
Perfect,
it.
right?
What does
Yes.
James Cameron know about making money with movies? Oh, wait, yeah.
But here's the crazy thing, right? Is that he had written Terminator and he directed it, right, beforehand. And then he also did Rambo First Blood Part 2. He wrote that. And then that's what got him the gig writing Alien.
Before Terminator filmed?
What's up? He wrote both of them, and then kind of.
I mean, Harlan Ellison really wrote the story that he ripped off for Terminator, but
Ooh, shots fired.
Ellison, I think, sued for his credit, which I think he has now.
That is correct. Yeah. And I mean, he was a relatively unknown director at that time, and then Terminator is such a big hit, and that's what got him the Aliens gig, you know?
I heard the execs really loved Piranha 2, The Spawning. That's really what got it.
That's a hot one. Yes. Yeah. I've actually never seen that. Have any of y'all seen that?
I've seen it, of course.
I have not.
Okay. Nice. So I just kind of wanted to go around round robin style, and I wanted you guys to tell me the first time you saw Aliens, and did you see it before you saw Alien? And what was it like the first time you saw it? So why don't we start off with Mike right below me? What's the first time you saw Aliens?
Gosh, I hate to be complicated, but I feel like I've never had a time. My dad loves these movies. And back in the VHS days, like there would be like Friday nights, Saturday nights where it was like Alien and Aliens back to back. So I think I can't tell you the first time I saw it. It's always been a part of my life. It was years before I knew there were two separate films. I've just always known. I've just always had it in my blood, my acid blood.
There you go. Nice. Ready to burst out of your chest. All right. And so like you just have loved them pretty much your whole life. You appreciate them. Is there one that you like more than the other?
Well, I have to say I like Alien the best just because I like horror genre more than I like action sci-fi. So I love that it's just about normal people, the first Alien. It's just about truckers in space. The coffee's not good and the food sucks and you're smoking cigarettes and it's just, oh shit, now there's an alien.
Yes.
I love it.
Yeah. Danny and I actually just covered an awesome documentary. It's called Memory, The Origins of Alien. Did you see that? It's on Shudder. Do you have a Shudder account?
Yes.
Yeah, I highly recommend it. It was just all about the making
wow.
of Alien, and we really enjoyed it.
And they actually talk about that whole, like what you just said. They bring up the whole aspect of space truckers, the fact that the two working class grunts are the ones who are like the smartest guys once the shit starts hitting the fan, and nobody listens to them because they're just working class grunts, you know?
Yeah. So good.
So Danny, what about you, man? When was the first time you saw Aliens?
So it's very similar to Mike. As I get older, like the question of when did I see a movie starts to fade, and it just feels like it's always kind of been there. But I think for Aliens, I'm going to probably say that Terminator 2 plays a big part in this, because I remember so vividly seeing the trailers for Terminator 2 and thinking, oh my God, for the first time in my life, I have to see this movie. And my dad was like, well, if you want to watch Terminator 2, you have to watch Terminator 1. And then once he introduced me to Terminator 1, and I saw Terminator 2 in the theater 3 times, which was what, 91, right? So I was 9. So I'm pretty sure that led to my dad going out and renting me Alien and Aliens. And then, because I saw Alien 3 in the movie theater, and that was 92, I think. So if I saw Alien 3 in the movie theater, whatever year Alien 3 came out, I saw Alien and Aliens right before it.
You saw Alien 3 in the movie theater?
Yeah.
Wow. As a kid, were you disappointed?
Going from having multiple aliens and the crazy action sequences, it was jarring to go back to just one alien. And I remember being genuinely upset that Hicks was killed, because I loved Hicks. He was like because my dad had let me see Terminator, so I was like pissed off that Michael Biehn had died in Terminator. And now I'm like, well, at least he survived in Aliens. All right, I can't wait to see him in. Oh, come on! I don't hate Alien 3, but yes, I was, even as a kid, I was a little disappointed.
I agree with you. I don't hate it either. It's an acquired flavor.
Yeah,
definitely.
There's actually a really awesome Alien 3 shirt. Danny actually forwarded an email from what's it called, Cavity Colors, right? Yeah, Mike, I'm going to forward it to you after this video, and Brian, I'll forward it to you too. But it's got an awesome shirt for like each movie in the Alien quadrilogy. There you go. That's how you say it, right? But yeah, I actually dig the Alien shirt the best out of all of them. But I'll share it with y'all. Awesome. So you were a fan because of like James Cameron and stuff, Danny. And then Brian, what about you, man? How did you get into this movie?
Like just about everything that I'm into now as an adult, it all goes back to my dad. He was always like a B horror movie guy, and like literally all my favorite things: Transformers, Arnold Schwarzenegger movies, sci-fi movies, The Evil Dead, all because of like just my dad just showing to me when they were on TV someday, or he rented it or something. So that's I think I saw Aliens first on TV in like the mid 90s somewhere. So definitely a little toned down, but so I saw that before the original. I don't know when I went back and watched Alien, but it was probably one of the earliest DVDs I got was Alien and Alien.
Yeah, you know, it's kind of funny because Brian and I are always so similar in so many different things, and that's actually the same thing for me too. I saw Aliens on TV for the first time, and then I saw Alien like maybe even years later. But it, you know, obviously it was edited for television. But just my family, we were just staying at a friend's house, and it was just on this TV, and I was just watching it in this room by myself, and it was just fucking incredible, you know? And it's kind of funny because, like, as I look at this screen, I see 3 guys that all have something in common. We have a lot of things in common, you know, being middle-aged white guys are obsessed with this shit. But Danny, me, and Mike all have talked to Mr. David Weiner, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, Mike's interviewed him for Pop Culture Man Children, and then, you know, Danny and I have interviewed him for the Lasser Cast. And David, of course, did, you know, In Search of Tomorrow, and he did In Search of Darkness. And he, of course, talks about aliens in Search of Tomorrow. And I was thinking, because as I was thinking about these sequels, I wanted to hear what you guys thought. Do you feel like for a franchise to get its legs, you really need to introduce something original in the second movie? It doesn't matter if the third movie is a dud, as long as that second movie does something new and exciting. What do y'all think?
Yeah, you have to up the stakes every time. I mean, if you don't do that, you're making the same movie over again.
Right.
Interesting hypothesis. I mean, I would say that the second Jurassic Park is kind of lame, and that franchise has gone on, but I don't think Jurassic Park has the same kind of fandom as Terminator or Star Wars or Alien. So I think your theory holds up, your hypothesis.
That's right.
I think when it comes to like the great franchises or the franchises that don't just let Michael Bay continue to make the movies regardless of fan opinion. Right. I've always stated that Part 2 is always the most important movie because, or not, no, I don't want to say that. It's not the most important, but very often I feel that Part 2s are the best parts of trilogies.
Yes.
Because you don't have to spend a half hour introducing everybody, setting everything up, setting up your universe.
Yeah.
Everybody walks in knowing everything. And then there's no pressure unless you are just making a finite movie. There's no pressure to deliver this amazing ending. So Empire Strikes Back, Terminator 2, Aliens, these are all amazing movies that live up to and in some cases surpass the original because I feel, you walk into the universe, the movie starts and you already know exactly what you are expecting. And then those movies, the three I mentioned in particular, they go above and beyond. So I think a lot of times a Part 2 has an advantage over an original, and then it kind of leaves it off to the Part 3 of the trilogy or the continuation of the series to pick up I feel like that's why we always remember the parts like of a franchise, especially we remember the original parts 1 and 2. And then as the movies go on, we start to get that, oh man, they really should have stopped like 2 movies ago.
Yeah.
Right. Really good points, guys, especially Mike. I really like that point about Jurassic Park because I think you're right. The Lost World is kind of lame. And Danny, I agree that it's like they've already created the world, so now it's time to like play in it, right? And so I think that Aliens, if you look at it, it's not like there's radical updates or changes from the first movie because essentially you go from like these truckers that Mike mentioned before to now the Colonial Marines, right? They're essentially they complain about having to be Marines and work for the company too, and then the alien itself, like the biggest addition is that you have the Queen all of a sudden, and the Queen is new and interesting, but you already established that there's eggs, you know what the drones look like. So it's not like she's this radical change, right?
Right.
But with that being said, we literally could just quote this fucking movie all day.
Yeah.
Right. And so, Danny, you said that your favorite was Hicks. I wanted to know for Brian and Mike, do you guys have a favorite character besides Ripley in this movie?
Yeah, for me, it's Hudson and it's exactly for Danny's shirt. That was literally the line that my dad said all the time that, got me to focus on this movie. Game over, man.
Yeah.
Guys, beside Ripley, I guess Hicks. Yeah, I loved him. When he showed up in season 2 of Mandalorian, I was like, Michael Biehn.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I think at the time I saw Aliens, I was a huge Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fan. And Hicks always reminded me of Leonardo. And Leonardo was my favorite Ninja Turtle. He's not the outspoken, crazy guy who says the funniest lines. He's just like the steady, stoic leader of the group. And that's kind of why I went along with Hicks. Also, as a kid, I really rooted for the guy who lived at the end.
Yeah.
Right.
But, that's an interesting thing, right? Because is there ever, Danny, I think you'd probably know this the best, but like, is there ever an example of like a final girl or like a surviving character from a horror movie that then goes into a whole nother cast and that you actually like the whole second cast as much as the first, if not better than the first in the sequel?
Wow. That's rough. I almost said Nev Campbell in the Scream movies, but I don't like those characters as much.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's rough. That's really rough. Yeah.
I think, unless, and of course there's people watching this at home too. If you guys can give us some examples in the comments.
I think I'll give you one example. And
I know what you're going to say, by the way.
What am I going to say?
Dream Warriors.
Who?
Dream Warriors.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah.
Bringing back But I'll make the argument that Nancy isn't the final girl in Dream Warriors. It's Kristen's character, Patricia Arquette. Yeah. But yeah, they bring Nancy back, and I love the Dream Warriors cast even more than the original Nightmare cast. That would be the closest, I think, off the top of my head. Yeah.
Well, that's
good call, Pete. Sure. See, we do know each other well.
That's right. We've only made like 600 YouTube videos together, right? But I was going to say that there is one controversial cast member in this group, and I'm wondering if you guys okay, you guys can tell. Okay. Yeah, it kind of blows my mind. I just rewatched this movie like yesterday, and I'm like, why the fuck did they let Jeanette Goldstein be Vasquez? Do you guys know about like the story behind that? Man. Yeah, that's her first movie that she's ever in.
And she's good in it. She is really good in it. But nowadays, I mean, it's blackface. I mean, nowadays we would never do that. It's wild. It's wild. It's the only thing that I think if you show this movie to a young person, I think they would love it. But I think that's the one thing that would stand out, where some Gen Z kid would be like, "Screw this!"
Right.
Cancel. Yeah. Cancel Aliens.
Yeah.
It
blows my mind. It's like. I'm assuming that they made the character before James Cameron decided to cast her, right? Like, it's not like he was inspired by her. She's like, oh, I got this great Puerto Rican impersonation or something, you know? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying to get us canceled now, but like, obviously he had an idea for the character, and he must have some kind of connection to Jeanette Goldstein because she's in like all of his movies,
right?
You know,
but there are Latinx actors and actresses, so it's like. It's just wild. It's wild. It's wild.
It's funny because like they're making a Vasquez book because there's a lot of alien books, right? Yeah. And the woman that is writing it is a Latina, and her name is, I got it written down over here, Violet Castro. And so that book's actually coming out in October, and it's going to be a whole Vasquez book. So I'm actually kind of excited about that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, man. What about the other casting, Danny? David Weiner was saying to us that there was another actor that was going to play Hicks, right?
Yeah, James Remar was cast and apparently was like on set for a little while, but then they had to fire him, and that was like something I didn't know, and I like read every trivia section of every website, and I never had heard that before. And I like I said, my dad my dad made me watch Terminator before Terminator 2. So I was such a big Michael Biehn fan already that like, I can't even in retrospect picture James Remar in there. I mean, it's also like, it took me a long time to even think of James Remar as a good actor because of Mortal Kombat Annihilation, but he's great in like Dexter and other things that he's been in. So
yeah, the Warriors. He's really good. He was also on Sex and the City for a while. He's good, but you know what it is? He's not a pretty boy. Michael Biehn is the pretty face, and I think for that character, it's almost like Ripley is the superhero and Michael Biehn is the damsel in distress.
Yes. Yeah. That's a very good point. Yes. And it's funny because like she kind of accumulates a family over the course of this movie, right? We have Newt, of course, and there's that mother-daughter bond. And then, he's like this sort of like, like stepdad or something to Newt with her. And
right.
I really do get so upset with Alien 3 that they just killed them off completely. And because you get so invested in them by this movie, by the end of it. Mike, have you ever seen the extended edition of Aliens?
No, but I've seen the extended scenes.
Okay. Yeah, so Danny, you were just watching it, right?
I watched it when I introduced Charlotte to Alien and Aliens. I didn't even use. I have like the original box of DVDs up there, the 4-pack. Instead of using that, I just found them streaming. I think they were on HBO Max at the time, and they were the extended cuts. And I had never seen it straight through, and it's jarring how much extra stuff is in there. There's like the entire Hadley's Hope scene, right. Where like you get to see LV-426 operating before the aliens. Right. Like they like, oh, we found something. And then that's what leads to like, you meet Newt's parents in the movie, which is bizarre. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of extra stuff.
I think the real big difference, and I think Pete, this is what you're getting at, is that we're told in the longer version that Ripley had a daughter who, while she was in cryosleep out in space, her daughter grew old and died.
Yeah,
which just adds so much to Ripley's character, and it changes the way you see her motherhood towards Newt has so much more drama to it. It blows my mind that they cut that.
Yeah. And that character has become a part of canon too, right? That daughter.
Isolation, right?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
game.
Brian, you've played that game, right?
Yeah, I never beat it, but it's a really unique game because it's you don't actually really fight the alien. You really just hide from it. And the AI is not scripted. Like the alien will figure out where you are, and if you die and restart, like it will do something different. It won't just be the exact same thing. You can learn a pattern for.
That's cool. Did you like that character in the game, like Ripley's daughter?
Yeah, I mean, they made her very much like Ripley in the game itself too, which I thought was nice. And like I said, I didn't finish it, but I really did enjoy the game when I was playing it. It was fucking scary.
Nice. Yeah. So I know that each one of you four guys can appreciate a movie score. Do you guys know the composer for this score?
James Horner.
Shit, yeah. And it's crazy because he died in 2015. And, I didn't realize what other movies he did the score for. The most obvious one that I can always think of is The Search for Spock, which is Star Trek 3. Yeah. And I love that fucking music. It's so good. But I always feel like there's similar sounds in, or similar, I guess, pieces in Aliens and Search for Spock, But besides that, he's also done Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, Field of Dreams, Avatar. He did The Rocketeer, that's an incredible fucking soundtrack. Like, what do y'all think about the music in this movie?
Well, the score for this film was used in movie trailers for almost all of the 1990s. So when I hear it, I imagine movie trailers. The dun, 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 like,
right. Dun, 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 dun.
I almost forget that it comes from Aliens.
Yes.
It's so it's wonderful.
Yes. And it's kind of funny because there's like lots of moments of just kind of quiet, and then there's sort of like background atmospheric kind of music, but then there's like super epic orchestral moments like that sort of trailer music that they play twice. They play it when Bishop flies up and takes them off the landing pad, and then they play it when Ripley makes the Queen go out of the hatch, right? Yeah. But the music, it's like when they're flying to the place where all the eggs are, the music is so fucking good. They play this one sort of menacing song when the chest burster comes out of Ripley in her dream, and I love that fucking music. They played at the very end too when the Queen like kind of pierces Bishop and breaks him in half. The music is just like so good, and that's what puts this movie like in the top 10 for me. I fucking love it so much. But I've been talking so much. What do y'all have? Because I know you guys always have brilliant points about this stuff. Like what do you got for me? What do you got to say about this movie that's unique?
I'd love to hear everybody's rankings
of just the 4 Alien movies, or like
make it easy and say the 4.
Okay.
Just cool. The Alien vs. Predator films. That's all I want to talk about.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Well, Mike, we've actually ranked them, and we ranked them last year too. But let's just do a refresher. Have your opinions changed? Danny, you want to go first?
It depends on the day of the week between Alien and Aliens. I'm like Mike said, I'm a horror first guy. So the original Alien is to me one of the great horror films ever made. That said, that I'll say that I'm not calling it boring ever, but it does take its time to get going. So if I'm just in the mood to put on a movie and just be consistently entertained for 2.5 hours straight, I'll throw Aliens on. Like, to be honest, I have not I didn't rewatch Aliens before this talk. I know the movie very, very well, but I can tell you right now, I'm going to watch it tonight because I'm talking about it and I'm desperate to watch it again. Right. So for the sake of this video, I'll say Aliens. No, I'm still going to go Alien 1. Aliens is like 1A, and then it's Alien 3, the producer cut of it, and then Alien Resurrection, which works better as a comedy, I think.
Yeah.
Probably.
What about you, Brian?
Yeah. I mean, I stupidly have a document where I list all my rankings just so I remember them. So because I've contradicted myself hundreds of times.
Right.
But yeah, I have Aliens first. I probably am more of an action sci-fi guy overall. So and this was also my son's favorite movie. It was, of course I showed my 6-year-old a horror movie. But yeah, this one I put Aliens first, then then Alien 3, and then Resurrection.
Nice. For me, I would put Aliens first as well, because and you guys know this from making videos with me, I always feel like a film, I can always rank a film very highly if like I'm excited about every single moment in the movie. Like if I'm like, oh, it's this scene, oh, this scene's coming. And Aliens is like that, where it's just like every single scene. Alien is actually like that as well. However, I think I get more excited about Aliens and the scenes and the dialogue. I do think that Alien is a superior film to Aliens, but I would make that my number 2. And then I'd hate to say this, but I think just because Alien 3 is so grim and so bleak after watching Aliens, it ranks it lower for me, and I would put Resurrection above it. But only because I like the cast that you have. Not necessarily like I don't like that newborn creature that's at the end of it. And it's sort of weird in a lot of ways and very gross. But I do like the crew, which I think we might have mentioned this in our previous videos too. But like I feel like the crew in Alien Resurrection is like the proto form of like the crew from Firefly, right? Because Joss Whedon wrote that screenplay. So it gives that kind of Firefly vibe. So I would rank that higher than Alien 3.
Yeah.
What about you, Mike?
I think I would agree with you, Pete. I would do 1 because I think 1 is just cinematically a masterpiece. Aliens as 2 because it's so much fun. It's just such a blockbuster. And I would put the 4th one 3rd because I think it knows it. I think it doesn't take itself seriously. I think it kind of knows it's a little stupid and fun. And like you said, the 3rd one is very bleak and it's very nihilistic. It's not just Hicks is dead. She has to do an autopsy on Newt. It's so dark. And the alien in that movie, they shot it on a black screen. It's not CG, but people think it is. They shot it on its own and then tried to composite it into every shot, so it looks terrible. So you've got an alien movie where every time you see the alien, it looks god awful. It's got to be the worst one, I think.
Yeah.
I'll tell you one thing that I was just thinking about, because we were talking about horror versus action sci-fi. Alien, what I love about Alien, and I think maybe why I put Alien above Aliens, in terms of and Pete, we were talking about this with Memory, the creature design of the original Alien. In the first movie, they make it seem like there is nothing you can do to kill this thing. In fact, they don't actually kill it. She blows it out into space while it's alive. And it's just there's nothing you can do to stop this monster. The look of it is amazing. And then in part 2, because you have space marines with big fucking guns, they're just blowing all the little aliens away. Like the aliens from the first movie are treated as cannon fodder in the second movie, which is perfectly understandable once you get to the end and they introduce the queen and you're like, oh my freaking God.
Right.
Yes.
But there's something to that terror of one unstoppable monster, that really, once it gets to, and I'll never forget watching Alien for the first time. I didn't understand that Dallas died, because I was like, he's the captain, he's the main character. How did he die third? He has to be the last one to die, or he has to be the It baffled me as a kid, that you could just kill off the captain of the crew who is positioned as the leader that early in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And that made it even more scary. So I think that's something that always resonated with me about the original Alien, was just how unstoppable the actual alien itself felt.
Counterpoint to that, I think I totally agree with you about how, the alien does seem unstoppable, and it's like, how do you overcome this? And that's what's exciting about movies, is you don't know how they're going to get out of it. But at the same time, with aliens, I think one of the things they added to it was that kind of like mob zombie mentality, where there's this mass of things and you don't know what the hell to do, and they decimate this entire group of Marines in like minutes.
Yeah,
it's pretty terrifying. It's all right. Maybe it's not as scary necessarily, but I've always enjoyed zombie movies because that whole mob idea of it, the sheer overwhelming amount of them, is always scary to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you make up a good point though, Brian, too, because they take out the Marines so quickly, and it was kind of funny because I was watching this. It's on like Pluto, which is like a streaming service. It was free. I don't have the DVDs anymore, but it's like over an hour into the movie before the aliens attack. It's like an hour and 14 minutes or something like that. And so it's very similar to the first Alien movie, where you don't have the chest burster scene until like an hour into the movie as well. But then once the aliens attack, it's just like the Marines just get picked off one by one. Then there's a little bit of a lull, and then all of a sudden the aliens wipe them out again. So it's essentially, people always say this is a war movie, right? And it's like essentially there's like two times when the enemies advance and they just wipe them out. The aliens just wipe them out in two times. And yes, they do blow them up and they do shoot them quite a bit, but it always feels like this hopeless scenario. Even when Hudson is like shooting them all and he's like, you want some, they eventually do get him. And that always really bothered me when they pulled him into the floor,
Yeah.
In the extended version, I was going to ask you guys, do they show Hudson in the cocoons in the extended version or no?
I don't think so.
What
show
about
Dallas in the Alien extended edition? There's a whole scene where Ripley comes and finds Dallas cocooned in the first movie. I don't think she ever finds Hudson. You do see, is it Paul Reiser that you find?
I think you see him, yeah.
Carter?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. She like gives him a gun or something, right? She's like, take care of yourself or something.
Yeah, I think so.
And I think he tries and the gun is empty. Maybe I'm Mandela affecting that, but
maybe. It's funny. You guys are bringing up these points, and I was thinking how like, has any kind of new addition been made to the Alien franchise since Aliens? And I know that we have like the newborn creature in Resurrection, but otherwise, what else do they add to the canon? And I think we could include Prometheus and Covenant at this point, right? Mm-hmm. And with Covenant, just to I just want to make one point about Covenant real quick. As I was rewatching Aliens, the scene where Newt falls down the little shaft and then she's in the water and the alien comes up behind her and gets her. You just see her doll's head floating in the water when Ripley goes down there, right? And I wondered if that was like an homage in Covenant, because in Covenant there's this part where this like blonde scientist woman gets attacked by like one of the new aliens and it decapitates her, and then like her head is just floating in the water. And it when I watched Aliens, I was like, oh, is that like an homage to Newt's doll? Do you guys know what I'm talking about with Covenant?
I have to admit, I've actually not seen Covenant yet.
Oh, sorry.
All right, bye, guys.
It's not really that good. I mean, do you guys
I like
Covenant?
Prometheus a lot, so I don't know why I haven't seen it yet, but yeah.
I mean, to answer your question about like, has there anything been added to the universe? Speaking strictly from the films, because I'm not, I don't follow the comic lore. I would say the concept of the engineers in Prometheus, to me, is fascinating. I don't love what they did with them in Prometheus, but I do love the idea of like tying the xenomorphs to the concept of like where human life started and what, like, and finding out kind of what that the space jockey from the original Alien, who they find on LV-426 with the chest busted out, that like skeleton. What was that? And like, so that aspect of Prometheus I really liked, and I love Michael Fassbender, and I love the idea of bringing back a cyborg, like a bishop type character, and have him be evil to an extent that makes Ash look like a wuss, you know, like not just evil, but like evil in an intelligent way that's trying to, you know, use the alien technology to effectively take over humanity. Almost, it feels like. I like that idea, but at the same time, I could have lived without all of that and just been happy with those two movies.
Yeah.
See, I think honestly, the idea wise, the films peaked with Aliens, like concept wise. I mean, I do love Prometheus a lot. I had that ranked as my third of the whole series, and I do love all the concept of all the engineers and all that. But I think what I more so like about it is just the technology leaps, you know, like the cinematography and all that. Like it's great then, but it's also great to see these like really wide shots of this beautiful like made up alien terrain. And I think that's really one of the only reasons to go see some of these movies now is to see better effects. You know, I mean, I don't know if you can get a better story than you can with the first two Alien movies.
That's a good point. You know, it's funny because like before we mentioned that like Empire Strikes Back and some other sequels kind of expand and then they make it more like a universe. But Alien, it is just very kind of like streamlined, where it's just always kind of the same story. There's just like little deviations with the details. Like you said, Danny, like you go from Ash to David. I feel like it keeps it from becoming like a universe, like where you have Star Wars. Right?
But I think, but as Brian said, I think what you have are huge tonal shifts. More than narrative shifts, what you have are huge tonal shifts. You know, it's a haunted house movie. It's an action movie. The third one is like, I don't know, like a German expressionist depressing movie. The fourth one is like a silly French kind of movie. It's the same director as Amelie.
Right.
The
tone shift like crazy.
Right. Yes. Yes.
I will say, and I brought this up when Brian and you and Pete and we did our ranking. I unabashedly love, in a total guilty pleasure sense, I forgot about this because it's not an Alien movie, but I love Alien versus Predator, the first one. I know that's
it's fun,
and there's one of the maybe top 5 most excited moments of my childhood watching a movie and doing the Leonardo DiCaprio meme of going there it is was watching Predator 2 at the end of Predator 2 that I rented on VHS, and Danny Glover walks inside this spaceship and there is the friggin' xenomorph skull, and I like flipped out. And to see AVP that first time, the final, it's kind of like Freddy versus Jason, where the entire movie, not that great, but every single time aliens and predators fight in that movie, it's really freaking good. And I love the final, like, Predator teaming up with Sanaa Lathan against the Queen Alien part. So if you want to throw that in as like maybe my favorite thing that the Alien franchise has done since Aliens, there you go.
I will totally agree with that. I'll amend my statement to include that. And I think I think that concept that those two things exist in the same universe, in the same world, is a great idea. And maybe it hasn't been executed the best way yet in film form. And maybe someday we'll still get something down the line. That does it right.
I said this in our video for Memory, The Origins of Alien. I said this to Danny, but basically the Predator, there was kind of a lame design for the Predator for the movie initially, and then they fixed it and they had Stan Winston come in and do the Predator, and that's where you get the mandible,
like a praying mantis.
Well,
it looks like a Power Ranger villain.
It looks so bad.
James Cameron influenced the mandibles for the Predator design. He was on a flight with Stan Winston, and he gave him a note. He said, "No, make it look like this." So he's partially responsible for that.
Yes, make it look like a lobster and a vagina together. Perfect. But so anyway, but it's funny because like Stan Winston designed the Predator, and then he designed the Alien Queen. So there is that kind of, and I said this in our other videos, like that mixing of the DNA right there.
What about Geiger?
Oh my God, I love Geiger.
Yes, he's Geiger.
Then, Mike, you have to see. There's this whole part in the documentary that Danny and I watched where Giger's being interviewed, and he's talking about his failures making the alien chestburster puppet.
Really?
It's just kind of funny because Mike and I did this impersonation of Giger one time. He's like, yeah, he sounds like a little gremlin kind of. Like, it was all a disappointment. But yeah, so anyway.
I tried making it, but it came out like a chicken.
yeah. They were pretty awful. But so I think like one way to kind of wrap this all up is we could talk about the future of Alien. I don't know if you guys have heard what the next project is. Does anyone know?
I feel like
it's a TV series, right?
TV series, that's right. Were you gonna say that, Mike?
No, I was gonna say every 2 years there's a different project. There's been so much development hell with this series.
Yeah, right. There was gonna be the movie that was made by the guy that made District 9, right? What was that again?
Yeah, Neil Blomkamp. Yeah.
Right. He was gonna make the thing where it was essentially like with Halloween and Halloween Kills and some of these other sequels where it's like, oh no, those other sequels don't count. We just go right from the one that we last liked to now.
Yeah.
But no, the new series that Brian mentioned, that is going to be made by Noah Hawley. We're fans of him in this house because he is the creator of Fargo, the TV series, and we really love that show a lot.
And he did Legion, right?
Yeah, he did Legion as well.
Ooh, wow.
Okay, that show.
I'm on board.
So he's doing the Alien show, and so what do you guys, just as a little round robin question again, what do you think would be a fun thing to do with the Alien concept moving forward?
I'm not sure. I mean, from what I've heard, this is going to take place on Earth actually in an earlier time. I'm a fan of Noah Hawley, and I'm curious to see what he does. But that idea is not setting the world on fire for me. I like the sci-fi aspect. I want to see space. I want to see things in space. I'm tired of Earth.
The tagline of the original movie is "In space, no one can hear you scream." So that the concept of anything on Earth, like I don't know if you guys remember, like the original marketing for Alien 3 was like terror comes home, and it was supposed to be on Earth, and then they completely scrapped that idea and went with like the prison planet to go like what Mike said. Let's just make it even bleaker. Oh, we have this really pretty actress who's like the kick-ass female. Let's shave her head and dress her in bland, colorless clothing.
Who are all the other characters? Oh, they're all rapists and murderers.
Yes, except for the one guy she finds who she hooks up with, who's from Game of Thrones.
Charles Dance.
Right.
Yeah.
Who also gets murdered?
I'm with Brian. I don't like. To me, I just don't want to see.
But remember, it's the future
Xenomorphs on Earth. What?
Right.
Remember, it's the future, though. So it won't be 2022. It might be very science fiction-y.
But isn't it still taking place before the first movie chronologically? I mean, it's still the future to us, but
yeah.
Oh, I
don't know. I loved Legion, and I know Fargo is on that list of like shows I desperately need to watch. So I trust that Noah Hawley's going to do something good. Yeah. I don't think there's been a great Alien film since 1986. So I'd like to see something good.
Yes.
And not something that we cherry pick the good things from. That's otherwise crap. So.
Yeah.
Well put.
Sorry, it's a prequel set 70 years before Ellen Ripley.
Oh, 70 years. Wow.
Okay.
How do you even have that?
What?
Is Prometheus like way before Alien too?
I don't remember now.
I'll Google that shit while Mike, you tell us your answer.
Well, I think you have to go back more towards the first film. I think you have to pare it down. I think you need one alien. I think it needs to be scary. And I think there needs to be sort of intrigue of kind of survival horror. You can have some action, but like we said with aliens is so much fun, but you go from one alien is unstoppable to here's 50 of them and we're just gonna blow them away. So I don't think you could do that with the show. I think you have to pare it down. They're like Daleks. The more there are, the less scary and smart they are.
Right.
So I think you'd have to do it real, basically like redo the first film. Just simple.
Yeah.
All right, I have a timeline update here. So Prometheus was around 2089 to 2093.
Okay.
Covenant is 2104, and then Alien is 2122. So it would take place in between Covenant and Alien.
Okay, that's interesting. Okay. Yeah, it'd be kind of interesting if they tied them together, but did Mike's approach, which is like making it very simple and like streamlined. With the Earth stuff, I understand what you're saying, Brian, of how like the Earth stuff isn't appealing. It's interesting because like they always refer to Earth in the Alien movies, but then like you never see Earth, right?
Yeah.
They do it in like Aliens versus Predator, Requiem, and the first one, but that doesn't count.
So wait, Brian, you said the original Alien took place in 2122. That's 100 years from now.
That is correct. Yeah. Wow.
I feel like, isn't it going to be great? Like, because we all have had this experience where we're watching a sci-fi movie that we first watched as a kid, where the future was actually the future, but then we've caught up to it, whether it's Back to the Future 2 or Terminator 2 or Escape from New York or one of those. Like, I'd like to think that 100 years from now, somebody's going to be watching Alien and going, oh, shit, that's this year.
Right.
Unlike whatever probably by that point, you'll just be able to buy like a Blu-ray that goes inside your skull and plays the movie in your head.
Right. Well, you know, I don't know. The future looks a little bleak. And I got to say, like, we're recording this on April 25th, which, Danny, that's a pretty good date, right?
It's the perfect date. All you need is a light jacket.
That's a little reference to Miss Congeniality there. But what do you call it? I just saw that Elon Musk just bought Twitter, right?
He's the Wayland of our time.
Dude, you beat me to it. That's right. That's
Sorry.
right. That's the fucking Wayland Corporation right there. Yeah. So, I mean, who knows what future lies ahead for all
in 2022, they might be watching Alien and going, I wish it were that good.
Right. That's what I'm worried about.
Oh, my God.
It's not a dystopia. It's a utopia.
Yeah, this is perfect. Yeah.
God, I wish I could go back to the future that has the xenomorphs chasing me. That would be so much better.
There's only one thing trying to kill me.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Look at that. So, gentlemen, as always, it's been a real blast talking to each of you. Thank you so much for talking about one of my very favorite movies on Alien Day. He's got okay, look at that. That's an interesting thing. It's a face hugger.
Nice.
Is it on Ripley?
1992, one of my favorite action figures of all time.
Awesome.
Oh, man. Brian, he's putting you to shame over there. Do you have any Alien action figures?
Oh, no, because they're all my sons. He has them all upstairs.
Oh, okay. Oh, Danny's whipping it out, too. Let's see. What's going on over here?
Oh, my God.
I just have this one little guy. I have no idea where I got him from, but he's just hanging out with my figures behind me all the time.
I think he was a blind box.
Yes.
That guy.
I know the company that makes those because I have a David Lynch that looks like that. You know, not like
is that company that like sells toys in bags and you buy them not knowing? Yeah, that's probably.
Right.
My daughter loves buying those at like horror conventions. She loves she'll get like 3 just to see what we get.
Yeah.
So
yeah. But I'll plug each of us real quick. That also sounds weird too. But you can see me and Brian on Comic Books Transformed. That we have new episodes usually every Thursday. Right now we're talking about Moon Knight and Young Justice, and we covered. Well, on that channel there is going to be a review of the first Marvel Alien comic that came out in 2019. So check that out now on Alien Day. Down there, me and Danny are on the Lasser Cast, and we covered that documentary we've mentioned like 18 times. Memory, the origins of Alien. Danny's always putting out content like every week on the channel. We got a lot of stuff from Shudder that we're going to talk about in the next few weeks. And then Mike, if people like what you've said about Alien, what would they like on your channel?
Well, on my podcast, Pop Culture Man-Children, PCMC, we talk about all pop culture ephemera. Actually, from when you're watching this, the next episode of my podcast is something I think viewers of this would really like. It's a discussion about canon and what do we gain from having a very strict Marvel-like canon? What do we gain from not having a strict canon? Like 3 Masters of the Universe shows at the same time, and so it's a canon discussion. And I think nerds who watch this will like listening to that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, and Mike, you know, he's also talked about a lot of things, a lot of franchises that we love, like Ghostbusters, and he and I have talked about Power Rangers on there, and he's got a tattoo, I think, over there. And of course, he's interviewed David Weiner, who's like a fan of all. He's not a fan of it. He's a friend of all of us, so except for Brian. But you'll meet him one day too. But anyway, I'm just to make things as awkward as I can as I sign off. Yeah. But anyway, this is on the Anchorpete channel. I promise that me and Sherry are coming back once we got a good show to talk about. But until then, we will see you guys real soon.